So hello and welcome to what has a working title of Big Alf's Big Podcast. So today I'll be discussing something which is very close to my heart, which is why the alphabet is in the wrong order. The current order was adopted in about the 7th century, which was, I think we can all agree, fucking ages ago. During this time, no one knew anything about data or Scrabble or randomizing, which are all topics which are going to come up today. So let's start with what is good about the current order. The backbone is good. We have A at number 1, M at 13 in the middle, seems about right, and Z at 26 obviously belongs there at the end, the shittest letter there is. The current order is familiar, which obviously is an advantage, but familiarity is not a reason to abandon progress. I hear what you're saying. What's the alternative? There are obviously loads of alternatives, as I'm going to demonstrate for you now. So first up on the alternatives, we have the QWERTY keyboard. It's known to almost everybody in the modern world, 2019. Most people know how to type, providing you're under the age of 65. Most people can probably visualize it in their heads from A to Z or from Q to M under this new order. This order is very easy to type. You can just run your finger along the keyboard across 3 lines and you've done it. I mean, I guess the only drawback to that is when do you actually need to type the alphabet? The only time I needed to type the alphabet was when I was writing notes for this thing. One very notable drawback to this order is that it does fuck with the whole A at the start, M in the middle, and Z at the end thing. Here we have Q at the start, not a good letter to start the alphabet on. M right at the end, doesn't belong there, should be well back in the middle. And A halfway through, and really QWERTY, despite the fact that everyone knows QWERTY, isn't really a great way to start off when you're teaching kids how to learn the alphabet, is it? Trying to get some sort of bias towards more common letters is probably the way we need to go. With that in mind, here we have Scrabble order. So the letters are ordered for their score in Scrabble. So the lowest scores first and the highest scores at the end. Everyone loves Scrabble until, I guess, fun things to do like iPhones and iPads and televisions are invented. Great way to pass the time. And I guess most people, not pesky kids, obviously, from the current generation of little nippers, will know a lot of the scores. Obviously, A being 1, Z being 10, I think. I know the question you're all asking in your heads, which is, what is the new order if you put it into Scrabble order? Well, luckily I've done the research for you. So here we have A, E, I, O, N, R, T, L, S, U, D, G, B, C, M, P, F, H, V, W, Y, K, J, X, Q, and Z. Lots of vowels at the start, lots of shit letters at the end. Honestly, I think it's a pretty good order. We have A still at the start, which is great. Z right at the end. Unfortunately, M comes in at number 15, so not halfway through. However, it does actually have the same number of points as B at 13, so we can actually switch them around and keep M in the middle. So that is a very, very good way of doing it. A at the start, M in the middle, Z at the end. Still the same, so the same backbone of the current one, but more bias towards the more common letters. This method does have one major drawback, and that's its suitability for the future. As I mentioned earlier, pesky kids these days will not know about Scrabble. They might think words with friends maybe, but that's still unlikely. Scrabble's probably going to die going forward, not be a game which appears a lot in our lives. When we're in 200 years' time and they're asking, why is the alphabet in that order? And they say, well, because it's for Scrabble. No one's going to know what you're talking about. So, veto on this one, I'm putting it into the bin. Next on our lovely list, we have order of popularity or statistical frequency. Probably my favourite, to be honest. So the current alphabet really sucks for this. Obviously, A at the start's pretty good, Z at the end, and M in the middle is all about right. But really, the rest of the alphabet is pretty shite in terms of ordering it by commonness. Things like K being the middle, it should be right at the end. B being second should be way towards the end. T, T is one of the most common letters in the English language. It's right down at the end. You don't get to it for ages. So I crunched the numbers on this one as well. Someone in Google has crunched the numbers on this one as well, and I have the order in terms of its statistical frequency. We have E, T, A, O, I, N, S, H, R, D, L, C, U, M, W, F, G, Y, P, B, V, K, J, X, Q, and Z. Based on the idea of wanting A at the start, M in the middle, and Z at the end, this one's pretty good. A comes in at number 3, M comes in at 14, one off its current spots, still pretty good. And Z is dead last in 26, and the current alphabet gets that one right. That makes this one a strong contender for the winner of what's going to replace the current alphabet. The also great thing about this one is that letters 12 through to 14 are CUM, or cum, which is obviously very, very funny. Okay, so now we're on to our third contender, which is a bit more fun, but I guess a little bit less practical, which is just doing it in random order. So just randomize the current alphabet and re-release it. You never know. You might get a really fun order. You might get Z right at the start, A and E and I and U right at the end, which obviously would be great fun and great entertainment for all of us. The only real difficulty with this one is it'd be very difficult to remember. There'd be nothing to base it on. You just have to relearn a new jumbled set of letters the way you've had to learn the current jumbled set of letters. Quite a good idea for this one is that if we are going to randomise the alphabet, we could do a new one every year. So you could tell how old someone was by the alphabet which they had learned when they were a kid. And it'd be a fun thing to do on New Year's Day. You look at what the new alphabet's going to be this year and see if you like it this year. And one way of working it out by randomising it is by shaking a can of alphabeti spaghetti and just laying it out on a plate and then getting them in some sort of order, and there you have your new alphabet. And the particularly great thing about this is you get it sponsored by Alfabeti Spaghetti, make money out of randomising the alphabet. I mean, what a genius idea that is. And now we have the fourth and least favourite option, which is we just keep it the same. Just stick with the same old shit. Wrong order, boring, insignificant alphabet. This probably would be the easiest way to do it. And everyone knows it. It's very familiar, but that is boring. And it stands in the way of current human progress. And I think we can all agree that if you got this far listening to this, that you are not a coward. And really keeping it the same way is the coward's way out. If you're not a coward, then you want to change the alphabet. So keeping it the same, not an option. And there we have it. We're going to the conclusion now. What is the best method? I think you all know which one I'm going to go for. Statistical frequency. So why go with this one? Well, it's fun. It has cum in the middle, which is obviously just fucking fantastic. And it just makes sense, as the right... why did you have the alphabet in order? Oh, because that's the order in which they appear throughout the English language. Oh, what a great idea. Well done. Fantastic. The only problem with this one is there are new words invented and given into the dictionary all the time, so we will probably need a 10-year review just to double check that all the letters are appearing in their order. If there are any changes that need to be made, they can be made every 10 years. Probably only one letter switch every 10 years, which obviously won't be too much of a difference. Most people still get the gist of the current alphabet, won't change life too much. So there we have it. That's the new order of the alphabet, and I will be suggesting it to the government shortly. I don't know which branch of government you need to go to get this changed, but I will be going there, and I will be getting it sorted. If you have any feedback, do feel free to get in touch. If you have any new ideas to how we could order the alphabet, I'd be very interested to hear those. Could do an episode 2 of the new order of the alphabet and potentially get in there quick before I get the government to change it. You don't really want to go back and change it again. Anyway, if you got this far, thanks very much for listening, and do tune in again. Thank you.